here we go. We're going to get into routing the Evertune bridge. You can buy the templates to make all these routes from Evertune, which you can't do without because there's a lot of them, and it becomes very hard to do the routing without them. I'd say it's probably impossible, actually. Well, maybe not impossible. Nothing's impossible, but it's much easier with them. So, as with any bridge, you start with marking your center line. And with this body top, I have the joint of the two halves of the top right on the body center line, but it's always best just to measure and double check in case your line got moved and is off by a hair, which mine was by literally a hair. So it's best just to measure it anyway. Once you get that figured out, you still gotta mark your scale length. This guitar is still gonna be a traditional Gibson scale length, but I did extend it by just a little bit because I know this guitar is gonna be living its life in lower tunings, so I figured I'd give myself just a little bit extra room for intonation. You'll see here that I'm not using the end of the tape measure to start the measurement. I don't trust the end of tape measures or rulers for that matter, so I always start at like 10 inches is an easy one to figure out. Is you start at 10 inches, then you measure to what would be 34 3/4 of an inch for the scale length. But like I said, in this case I went to like 34 7/8, I think, just to give myself a little extra room when this thing lives its life in lower tunings. And then it just starts with the templates. The first template has little hash marks for the center line of the guitar and the scale length, so you just use the old masking tape and super glue trick to set that on, and then drill the 4 holes that are there, and then you use the 2 drill bits as alignment pins for the next template. It's just a matter of getting the template on, get everything secure, and routing. You'll often see me pull out my phone and check stuff quick just because there's install videos online from Evertune for this. So I'm just checking to see what the depths are, because each of these routes has a specific depth, and it's always from the top of the body that they want to go. So I think this first one is an inch deep, which makes me wish I had bought a 1/2 inch long router bit, not a 1/4 inch long one, because it would have gone a little bit quicker, but it's all right. Taking smaller passes is always better anyway. Yeah, there we go. That's the first pocket done. It's the only route that'll be done from the front of the guitar. Everything else gets done from the back. And here I'm just double checking that those initial holes were straight, because I think one of the guide bushings was a little crooked the first time, so I just set them straight and re-drilled them just to be sure, and they were pretty close. Yeah, it wasn't a huge issue. It was just giving me a little bit of trouble lining up the templates on the drill bits from the other side. But only the first template gets lined up with those larger drill bits. and then you drill all 6 holes for the backing plate, the cover plate that goes over the back, and then there's 4 drill bits to align the rest of the templates from there. And this becomes more masking tape and super glue, more measuring, more routing. Just a lot of that from here on out. Here I decided to chisel out the last little bit. The last route it got me a very paper thin layer of wood left between those 2 routes. I decided to just get a chisel out and get it out, and figured it would come out a little cleaner than trying to set the router just a little bit lower and route it out. And this was also where I realized that I had forgot to plug the holes from the original, for the original bridge posts before I put the top on. So I'll plug those later. 2 of them shouldn't be an issue, but the stop tail pieces shouldn't be, or the stop tail holes shouldn't be an issue, but the original bridge ones are, because they are right where the front 2 bolts for the Evertune are going to go. I had to do a little bit of math because all of these routes from the back are supposed to be measured from the front of the guitar, so you have to take the thickness of your guitar and do some math to figure out how deep the route is supposed to be from the back. Yeah, and this one goes into the bridge pickup cavity pretty quickly, and then after that it's just kind of working on this very thin center strip that's maybe about 1/2 inch wide. That's supposed to go down to about 1/4 inch thick, and I actually ran into an issue with my my router just would not go deep enough with the bit that I was using. So I decided to pause it there and go figure out if I was going to go buy a longer router bit or make something work. And luckily I remembered that I had a longer router bit, I just didn't have a bearing on it. So I took the bearing off the other one, put the bearing on this one, and got it done. There it is. Bridge is in. You got a little sketchy at the end, but we made it work. Next thing I just have to do, plug the holes that I forgot to plug before I put the top on from the original bridge posts. Tailpiece one's probably going to be okay. There's a solid bar that goes across here that the screws then go down through and through the body and screw into the back of the bridge housing itself. Yeah, it's in. That's a big step.